What if I tell you there's a plugin that can clean, compress, EQ, de-ess, add effects, and polish your vocals all in one place? Today, we are putting the Pulsar Vocal Studio to test, and I'll show you how to mix a full vocal chain using just one plugin. Most engineers, including myself, stack plugin after plugin to get a perfect vocal mix. But Pulsar Vocal Studio says, why not do it all here? In this video, I'll break down how to use each knob, what it actually does to your vocals, and how you can use it to get professional results, even if you're just starting out. So let's jump in. Hey guys, my name is de-ess Music, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. So if you have watched our previous tutorial where we were mixing rap vocals, it was actually this song. So today we are focusing more on the chorus of the song, trying to make this chorus come alive and sound professional as much as possible. We're just using this one plugin, the Pulsar Vocal Studio. So without anything involved, without anything added to these vocals, this is how the chorus of the song sounds like. So most of you, I know that in listening this song, you would actually feel that the vocals have been already mixed, but they are not, guys. They have not been mixed or anyhow. It's just that these vocals were recorded in a much better studio, and a producer and an artist that recorded this chorus were actually pros, guys. People who have worked with really big artists in the industry. If you can check here, you can actually see that the vocal is not linked in anywhere, anyhow. Yes, we're still using that Pharaoh's template, but the vocal is not linked anywhere. Actually, it's at a master, guys. So now we are going to actually listen to the vocal alone and then see if we can work on this vocal using the Vocal Studio. You can actually tell that the vocal has a lot of bass frequency on it, of which it's nice. And then the other thing that you can actually, that is a problem here, is that the vocal has too much of that S's and T's. But what is really nice about this vocal is that there's no room reverb on it, which means it was recorded again on a great studio. And there's like lesser background noise that you can actually hear on this vocal. But it doesn't mean that there's no background noise. There's always a background noise, guys, when recording vocals. Unless if you are recording maybe on a really acoustical treated room or studio. This is our vocal studio. So now we need to link the main vocal to this channel. So this is the main vocal. This is the main vocal chorus that you're working on. So we need to double click it and then link it to 1, to 3. You can do it like this or just do it like this. This is where we have linked the vocal. So here we have what? We have Pulsar Vocal Studio. So now when you see Pulsar Vocal Studio, there's lots of things that you can see here, as you can tell. So we are going to go with this thing step by step, guys. So first of all, when you open Pulsar, there's presets already pre-installed, guys, of which it's very hard to not find like a default or reset of this plugin where everything is just off. So for the sake of this tutorial, I've turned everything off. We are going to start with the sensitivity knob. So sensitivity, guys, it's how much the plugin listens or reacts to the vocal input. So guys, which means this sensitivity knob almost works as when you are doing the selectivity on Sooth 2. if you are using Source 2 and you boost the selectivity, the plugin selects a bit more frequencies and accurate frequencies. It goes in details in picking those specific frequencies. So this thing, sensitivity works the same. So the more you boost this knob, of which it's always on good, but the more you boost it, it's the more this thing will select or work on those specific frequencies that they are. And the lesser this sensitivity is the broad or wider range it will actually work on those frequencies. So this thing just selected, just slightly left from good. So now it's time we go to the drive knob. So as you can see, the drive has solid state, tube, and germanium. So germanium, as you can see, that it captures the distinct coloration of a germanium transistor preamp. So as I said, that this thing is like your analog saturation type of plugin. So we are going to push this drive knob up until we hear what are these knobs actually doing on our vocal. When working on solid state, guys, I think when listening to it, it gives the vocal some color on it, gives the vocal some harmonics on it, and some top end saturation on it, of which is a great thing when we're working on vocals. We're always looking for the top end in our vocals. And then when listening on tube, guys, when it's on top, it almost sounds like the vocal is distorted, like that high end is distorting, like the vocal is clashing. This can be good for a lot of vocals, but for this, I don't think tube will work for this vocal. I know that it doesn't sound like this when it's on 2 or 3, but guys, just know that this is what this thing is doing to the vocal. So now let's listen to germanium. So germanium has like a mixture of both solid state and tube. You can actually feel the vocal being distorted, and also you can actually feel the vocal has that some type of a high end on it. So for this vocal, I think I will stick with solid state. Listen to how it sounds like with this thing, solid state, on a lower percentage level. It sounds nice, it sounds bright. You can actually tell that the vocals harmonics are just in your face, they're just up and down. Working with this vocal, it sounds really good, guys. Two things. The more we boost this vocal, is the more the problems of these vocals will skyrocket. So what I mean is that the more we boost on this vocal, meaning the more we boost the compression of this vocal, is the more that background noise is going to come up. And when it's time to play with the EQ of this vocal, it's the more we're going to have that S's and T's problems, of which is the same thing that we found when we were just listening to the problems. We found that this vocal has a lot of S's and T's, which brings us to this section, the gating and the de-essing. So the de-essing, guys, is easy. We are just working on the S's and T's of the vocal. And then on the gating, guys, the gate actually works like your noise suppression. It actually works like your noise suppression. So a noise suppression works around the vocal, meaning it can clean any background noise around the vocal. But a gating plugin works in between the vocal. When there's pitch on the vocal, the gating is not engaged. The gate plugin does not engage its gating on that vocal. But when the vocal is quiet, that is when the gating is engaged on that specific vocal. So when we are talking here, the gate does not work. But when I become quiet, the gating takes place. But a noise suppression, it doesn't care if I am talking or I am quiet. It works all around the vocal. So make sure that your vocal is quiet already. Like this one, it is quiet. But if your vocal has a lot of background noise, a lot of things, just use a noise suppression plugin because it doesn't come with this thing. This is what I mean. So we are going to start with the De-Ess, guys. The easiest one.
Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring Usola sqabula amachain escalen Master stabula amapipe emgaqweni Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring Usola sqabula amachain escalen.
So I think it's perfect when it's at around 50%. It's actually on 53%. I can actually boost it more, but I just love it where it is. So this is the range that we are setting for our vocals.
Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring Usola sqabula amachain escalen.
This is what I meant. The more you push the gate plugin, is the more the gate will work on the vocals, because this thing doesn't work around the vocals. It works in between the spaces of the vocal. So we're just going to put this thing to around 60-something%. Now we have a compressor here. We're working on compressing this vocal. So when compressing vocals, in general, I always use about 2 to 3 compressors. Each and every compressor has its own job in actually working on that vocal. So the first compressor, usually I use it to tame the loudest frequency of the vocal. And then the second compressor mainly is for the overall compression of the vocal, to make sure that each and every words or sounds ahead on the vocal. Like there's no quieter frequencies and there's no louder frequencies. Here we have only one compressor, meaning with this compressor, we have to actually tame the loudest frequencies of the vocal and also make sure that each and every words ahead on this vocal without boosting that background noise, without boosting those unwanted frequencies on this vocal. So looking at this, we have a compression knob here. Very, very easy, guys. Just boost the thing and then you have your take on this compressor. But it comes with knobs, guys. 3 knobs. We have natural, we have modern, we have gritty, guys. So these knobs plays a huge part in making sure that this compressor works as expected. Okay, guys, so now let's listen to how it sounds like with these knobs on. So let's push it.
Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring Usola sqabula amachain escalen Master stabula amapipe emgaqweni Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring.
When it's on natural, guys, I feel the vocal becomes a bit more brighter on the high end. And somehow I feel like the lower section of the vocal is actually being rolled off when it's on natural. Whereas when it's on modern, I feel like the vocal is becoming a bit warmer. It has that warmth sound on it. Like it is taming something on that low mid frequency. And then somehow actually rolling some of the high end frequencies, because here on modern, we don't hear the clarity of the vocal. Meaning, if we stick with modern, we'll have to work more on bringing this clarity that we lost when we're doing the compression here on modern. So let's listen to gritty.
Sngena sqabula amaphepha kubhamen Master stabula amachere enquiring Usola sqabula amachain escalen Master stabula amapipe emgaqweni Singena Sqabula.
So gritty, it's like that raw sound of a vocal. It's like in your face. There's a lot of high end on a vocal, and like the middle higher mid frequencies, I feel like the higher mid frequencies of this vocal are being boosted. Like you can hear the high end of this vocal being boosted, and there's a lot of background noise coming up when it's on gritty, meaning it doesn't only boost the higher end and the higher mid frequencies, it also boosts some of that lower end frequencies of that vocal, meaning it brings a lot of background noise with it. So for this vocal, we are going to stick with natural.
Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni. Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin.
So I like it at 30%. So this is what we have done so far. We have worked on the sensitivity, we have worked on drive, we have worked on gating and de-essing the vocal, and now we just finished with compression. We are not going to do anything on the volume knob. This is how it sounds like with the music on.
Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni. Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni.
Okay guys, now we are on the EQ section of this vocal. This is where we actually shape the tone that we want on this vocal. So here we shape the tone of this vocal. So look at this thing. So in looking at this EQ section, you can see that there's an EQ amount of which it's like this as a default EQ. I didn't mess around with it. And then we have the focus knob, of which you can choose here what actually you want to focus on, of which it's air, edge, or presence. You will see when you actually work on the type of vocal. And then on the EQ amount, we have flat, we have crystal, and what these are actually the presets that you can use when it's on crystal. As you can see that it's like this, and so on and so on. So let's put it back on flat because I want to work on this EQ section by myself, guys. I have a clue what I want on this vocal. So let's try and do this thing. But first thing first, before we even listen to the vocal, guys, we know that the vocal has some background noise. Not room reverb, not room noise, but just an overall normal background noise on this vocal. And mainly that background noise is always around that 100 to 80 hertz range. So we need to roll off to that amount. Roll off until like 80 hertz and then somehow tighten this thing like
Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni.
There's literally nothing here, no frequencies here, just fluff that you don't need on this vocal. That is why I rolled off around 80% of this vocal. I also hear that this vocal is somehow bassy here. Let's listen.
Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni. Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen.
We rolled off some of that bass frequencies. Let's just boost one here so that it has that bassy sound of a male on it. Then let's work on here. We are still on the middle or lower mid frequencies.
Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Singena Sqabula ma pepak bamen. Master Stabula ma chair inquiring. Usola Sqabula ma chain escalin. Master Stabula ma pipe mkagweni. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen.
So this is what we actually did to this vocal. So as you can see here that we boosted some of that low end frequencies, meaning since we took off or rolled off some of that bass frequencies because of that background noise, we needed to bring something back. So in this case, we did both the boosting and the subtracting of frequencies that you don't want and boosting the frequencies that you want on this vocal. So we boosted that bass frequencies. And then immediately after boosting that bass frequencies on the low mid frequencies, on the same section, we subtracted frequencies that I think were somehow trying to mess this vocal chain that we're doing here. We subtracted at 381 Hertz, we subtracted around -2 dB. And then also at around 763 Hertz, we subtracted around -1 dB, but on a wide range of selection because we're working on a tight budget here. On higher frequencies, we boosted here. We boosted what? The presence. We did not boost the air. The vocal already has some air on it. We've seen that when we're boosting the drive knob. We've seen that when we're boosting the compression knob. And we have a ton of de-ess on it. Remember that I said when I feel that this vocal is way above the threshold that we have set for the de-ess, I will actually fix it here, which is what we actually did. I fixed it here by just rolling around 42 dB at 24.0 Hertz. What I'm trying to do, I was trying to warm up that vocal on the top end. Just put on that high frequencies, on that airy frequencies. I do not like to boost the air of the vocal, which is why I never use the fresh air plugin till today. Okay, we're not there. So I do not like to boost those frequencies because those frequencies, they somehow clashes with the beat. This beat, guys, has a lot of air on it, meaning there's a lot of hi-hats on it. There's a snare on it. There's strings on it. There's a lot of things that are involved that need that space that the vocal should not be allowed to actually work on, which is why when you download our Pharaoh's template, the link is on the description, you will find that on the beat section, we have something like an EQ. What does the EQ does? It actually roll off some of that higher end frequencies because this is where the vocal shines through, guys. And to add on that, we also have ozone 10. You can use ozone 11. You can use ozone 12. But it does the same. We have stabilizer. This thing emphasizes on what the EQ is doing. So we are not here, but we are here. This is how it sounds like with the music on.
Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni.
And then, guys, then we have the special FX. This FX amount, it controls how much of the built-in effect you want to hear on your vocals. And you also have something like delay and reverb.
Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni.
So because this is a chorus and I somehow want the vocal to stay on the middle frequencies and also on the sides, guys, I will just use this wide stereo, guys.
Singena siqabula amaphepha kubhamen. Masistabula amachere enquiring. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Usola siqabula amachain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kuphamen.
So I know how much I've spoken about the actual cleaning of the reverb and cleaning of the delay, which is why I even went as far as releasing the 3 bundles that you have on our store, the Ferros templates, the Golden templates, and the Vocal Fusion templates, and also the Fusion Wave template bundle. So I've released these things so that you guys don't have to waste time doing things like this, like I just did. I don't like the reverb of this thing. I don't like the delay of this thing. Maybe if I spend a longer time working on this thing, maybe I will find a balance, but I feel like the reverb is somehow cheap and I feel like the delay is somehow cheap. I like to use around 2 or 3 delays on my vocals. Okay, maybe not the delay, but the reverbs. I like to use 2 or 3 reverbs. One maybe will be a plate reverb or a room reverb. And then the second one will be the shorter reverb. And then the third one will be the longer reverb, the one that goes wide. And the shorter reverb is the one that is just contained, that wants to go wide, but just in the middle. So after using this plugin, I will actually give it a 90 out of 100. And the other 10% is for the delay and reverb that does not work for me. So because we are using the Ferros template, we have our own delays and we have our own reverbs. So let's go to the template. Just open, since you can see that the chorus is here, we have to just open the room reverb. This is our room reverb. It is being controlled by this compressor. We also have an EQ, guys, to control this reverb. And then we also have a short reverb and then also have a long reverb. And then we also have the delays, guys, of which in this point we are working on in 1/8 delay. So this is the delay. As you can see that the delay is this one that we're using. Yes, this one works, but I just like to use this one. And then it also comes with something that controls the delay. This is the plugin that controls the delay. And then it also comes with its own EQ. This is the EQ. That is why, guys, I always say that behind the Ferros templates, behind the Golden template, behind the Vocal Fusion template, there's a lot that is being done on these bundles.
Singena siqabula amaphepha kuphamen. Masistabula ama-chair inquiring. Usola siqabula ama-chain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni. Singena siqabula amaphepha kuphamen. Masistabula ama-chair inquiring. Usola siqabula ama-chain escalen. Masistabula amapipe emgaqweni.